Good morning, everyone. So my name is Albin. So totally I have 15 years experience in the So I have 15 years experience in this IT industry. So in the development and in the training part, okay, and a couple of years I would then work as a developer, and after that I move on to the training part. Okay. Yeah. So today, so we discussed about the Spring essentials, Spring Boot, Spring MVC, and Spring Core, and bit of security part. So we have a couple of hours now. So till 1 o'clock, 11 to 1, right? So a couple of hours. So we can just walk through all the concepts of Spring. Okay. Means high level. So of course, 2 hours is not easy, right? We cannot finish in 2 hours, but as of now, you'll get some high level expectation. So what is about this course, how the courses go, and why we are going to learn Spring. So those parts we discuss, okay, for this means for next 2 hours. Okay. Yes. Fine. So I'll share my screen now. Okay. In a moment. Fine. So when you talk about Java technology, right? So when you it's a strong in backend development. So because many developers or many projects used for Java is for backend development only, right? When you talk about backend development, there are a lot of frameworks available. Even without framework also, right? Without framework also, we can work on backend. But almost 80% of projects for backend development, they prefer Spring. Okay. So the main idea of Spring is used to make the Java EE development very faster and easier. Okay, that is the main idea of Spring, right? It makes the things very faster, easier. If you're not going for any Spring framework, it's a bit tough, to work on it. Okay? So that is the reason we are going for Spring. Okay. So basically the idea is, Spring framework help us, in developing the complex enterprise application. So enterprise application. So what is the meaning of enterprise application means? So enterprise means business, right? Business. Let's say if you want to build a some e-commerce application, or if you want to build a bank kind of application, right? Bank server, okay. And if you want to build a kind of a chat application, okay, like like a Facebook or any other social media networks, or any kind of such applications, we prefer what? Spring. Okay, we prefer Java and we prefer Spring. So these applications are really very complex. Okay, so let's say when you talk about e-shopping app, let's say when you talk about Amazon app, right? So you'll be searching a lot of products, right? You will put into the cart and you will buy the product, and moreover, it has to connect with the bank server, right? It has to connect with the bank, and you'll get OTP, security, authentication. So a lot of come into this matter, right? And this application can go down at any time, so we have to secure everything, right? Okay. So to develop such very complex application, we'll go for Spring Frame. Okay, we'll go for Spring Frame. Okay. So I'll just give a small picture. Okay, it's a very minor picture about Java EE architecture, we can say. So what is about Java EE architecture? Okay, so it's a collection of specifications for developing and deploying some enterprise application. So enterprise application. See, you have a mobile device, right? You have a mobile device. Let's say if you want to access your bank details, right? You want to transfer some money, or you want to see your account details. So how will access? Either you will go for a browser, right? You'll go for a browser and you will log into the banking app, or you will go for a mobile application, right? You have a mobile app and you log in through that. So the client could be anything. So this is a client, right? The client could be a Java application client, could be anything. Might be an ATM machine. Okay, maybe you walk through ATM and you are trying to withdraw some amount. Okay, so maybe this could be an ATM machine, or this could be a mobile device, or any app, Android app or iOS app, could be anything. Or it could be a browser client. Okay, you have a client browser and you are accessing the web page. Okay, you are accessing your app through the browser. Okay. Fine. So this is the client side. Okay. So definitely when you are making an interface application, you have a client mission or client side. Right? We'll call it a client tier. Okay, we'll call. And the server side. Okay. So Java EE server. Okay. So your Java stands here. Okay. Your Java application will work here only. Okay. If you're working with web application, okay, you will be working with servlet, some JSP. It's a pretty old a bit, but you will be, working with, servlet JSPs when you go for a web tier application, right? Web tier. And when you talk about, business tier means your actual core logic stands there, right? The core logic. Let's say you want to transfer some funds, right? You want to transfer some funds from one account to other account, right? So to do a transfer, we have to write some logic. So this logic will go here, right? The actual core logic will go here. So we'll call such as of beans. Okay, we'll call as beans. Okay, so what is beans means? It's a Java class. It's simple Java class. We'll call it a Pojo class as well. It's having some logic here. It having some business logic. So in that logic, we'll write some code. Okay, to do some fund transfer or to check your balance. Other operations, anything. Let's see if you want to book a flight ticket, okay? So those kind of logic will goes here, okay? Okay, and the database there, okay? So here the database part, okay? All the data will be dumped here only, right? Okay, all the data will dump here. So this is a 3-tier architecture, right? So we have a client and we have a Java EE server. The Java EE server, there are 2 parts here. One is a web part, okay? It's a web tier part, okay? And one is the business tier part. Here actual logic will goes here, and the database part here, all the data is going to dump in the database type, right? Okay, so when you talk about Java EE application, first of all, we should go for core Java, right? So the core Java is mandatory part. We should know about what is classes, objects, inheritance, polymorphism, then collections, threads, okay? So those things come under core Java. So if you are good enough to do in core Java, right, then we can go on to advanced Java EE applications. So only difference is in the Java EE application, your whatever code you return or in core Java, that will go here. Okay, that will go here. That will be server side. Okay, in the server side, your application will be running over there. Okay. Because many of you confused about Java SE. What is core Java? What is Java? EE. Okay. If you are working with core Java, that is actually only for standalone application. Standalone application means it will not run on server side. Okay, it will run on only in your desktop. Okay, you have your application in your machine, you host it in your machine, and others can't access. So it will work in your own machine, standalone. Okay, that is called core Java. Means Java SE. We'll call it standard edition. There you will be learning all the basic things. Okay, basic all the things. Right. When you come to the advanced Java or Java EE. Here the same classes only are going to use, but this will be run on the server side. Okay, server side. Okay, and here the database part. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ping me here. Okay, so I can try to resolve the issue also. Yeah. Okay, so this is actually a Java EE application. So Java EE, there are a lot of technologies are there. Okay, there are a lot of technologies. Okay, so here Spring framework. Okay, Java EE, we are going to use a Spring framework. Okay, so in this last slide, we discussed about web tier, right? We discussed a web tier, okay, and we discussed about something called what JSP servlets, right? JSP servlets, okay. So here, how I walk through means why we are going for Spring, okay, and how it is going to help, okay. We are going to walk through. So from the basics to advanced level, okay, I will try to capture everything, okay. So in the web tier, we just mentioned about servlets and JSP, okay, servlet JSP. You might be know about servlet and JSP. I just give a glance on this. Okay, so basically, what is the purpose of servlet? Is used to make a dynamic page. Okay, it's a web page. It is used to make dynamically. Let's say you are accessing your banking application, right? The online banking application, and you are trying to get your balance amount, right? So this balance amount will be displayed in your browser, right? In a browser. So someone has to make the page, okay? Someone has to make the web page, right? Someone has to make the web page, and the web page will be sent from the server to client, okay? From the server to client, someone has to send, okay? So that is done by whom? The web tier, the servers, okay? Let's say you access Google page, right? Google.com, and you are getting some page, no? So that is called a web page. That is called a web page. But now the servlet is used to make a dynamic web page. So dynamic page means what? This page is made at the runtime. Okay, made at runtime. So with the help of servlet, you can make a page at the runtime. It's a way to make a dynamic web page. So Java servlets are Java programs that run on Java-enabled web server. So the servlets will reside in the server. Okay, the servlets will be residing in the server. Okay, that's what I said. So it is Java E server. Here it resides. The main purpose of the servlet is used to create a dynamic web page. Okay, this is called a servlet. Okay, so here I just given a flow here. Okay, so let's say you have a web browser and you have a server. Okay, and there you have the servlet program. So all the programs will be there. Okay, and here I missed out this business tier here. Okay, business tier. It means in the business tier only we have the actual logic we have, and this web tier is actually only to send the dynamic web page. So in this page, in this diagram, I missed out the the business logic, right? Business tier I can say. So it has some, it will just send some web page to the client. That's all. Okay. So that is a role of a servlet. Fine. Okay. So if you are making a Java E application without Spring, okay, without Spring, how will you do? Okay. So this is the way you will be doing. Okay. So you have a client browser. You have of course you have a laptop and you have a client browser here, and here's a controller. Okay. So what is MVC? MVC means it's a model view controller, right? Model view controller. M stands for model, view stands for JSP, and C stands for controller. Okay. So you are a client. You are sitting here, right? And you are accessing your login page. Okay, login page. You have a login page. You are trying to access that page. So the moment you enter your username and password, it will send the request to a servlet. Okay, send the request to a servlet. Just assume that you are using a net banking. You enter the username and password, and you click the button submit or login. Right? When you click on login, okay, what happened? The data or the request will send to the servlet. Okay, servlet. Okay, that is called as a controller. Okay. Okay, so in the MVC is the architecture. Okay, so in that the servlet will act as a controller. So what is the controller will do? The controller will handle the client request. It means it will capture the username, right? Username and password, and it will verify, and it will check the database. Okay, and see, usually whenever you successfully logged in the welcome page, you will get your details, right? Your profile, your personal, details will get, right? Your account balance, everything. So those information will get from the database, right? Whenever the user login is success, it will get the user specific details from the database, and it will show to the view. So the view is a JSP. Okay, JSP. This JSP will be act as a presentation layer. It will display to the client. So the client will see the JSP. Okay, the client will get the response from the JSP. So the client will give a request to a servlet. Okay, servlet, and the servlet will make a call to the model. Okay, and the model means it could be a data, could be a logic. Okay, and it will get the data from the database, and the servlet will call the view JSP. So what is JSP role is? JSP is a kind of a presentation layer. It will display your details to the client. Okay, so this is what MVC pattern. But this MVC pattern is done without using a Spring framework. Okay, see, before Spring framework, or prior to Spring framework, developers used what? Servlets only, plain servlets only. But when you go for a plain servlets, of course you have to write a lot of code, and that is you have to repeat a lot of code actually here. Okay, so that is the reason we are going for a framework. The framework makes the things easier. So in the beginning itself, I told why we are going for Spring, because Spring makes the Java E development very faster. So this is for one scenario, right? Let's say only for login check. Okay, only for. Likewise, when you are going for a big Java E application or big banking application, you have lot of complex functionalities you have, right? So in such cases, if you are using a plain servlet, a plain servlet, and with the help of MVC architecture, it will take a lot of time, to develop the application, and it consumes a lot of time because it will be very, very complex. To make the thing so simple, we are going for what? We are going for what? Spring. Okay. So it's not like we have to use Spring, right? Spring is not a mandatory stuff, right? Spring is a framework. Okay, Spring is a framework. Right? It's not a mandatory that we have to use Spring. We can achieve, or we can make the Java application without Spring also. But why we are going for Spring? To make the Java development very easier. That is the reason we are going for a Spring. Okay. Fine. So here I just mentioned what is Java EE, what is Java Bean. Okay. So Java Bean is a reusable software component. The reusable software. Okay. So means it's a component. It having some kind of logic. So this logic can be reused by many times. Okay. So it encapsulates many objects into one object. So we can access objects from multiple places. Okay. So it means the same bean I can reuse for many times. In number of times I can reuse. Okay. So that we can access this object from multiple places. Let's say we have a logic. Let's say for account balance check, right? Account balance check, right? So account balance check we can use it for while doing fund transfer. We can use, or while checking the balance also we can use, right? So same logic we can use for different purpose. We can use for account balance check, right? Account, if you want to check your account balance, we need to check while doing fund transfer. At the same time, we have to do actually while checking your balance. Okay. So this is actually without Spring plain servlets. Okay, but here we have a lot of difficulties. That is the reason we are going for Spring. When you talk about Spring, okay, Spring having a lot of modules. Okay, a lot of modules. Okay, so here we have a Spring Web, right? Spring Web module. Okay, so Spring Web module means if you having sockets, or a web socket, if you have servlet, if you have web, if you have portlet. Okay, and it supports something called a core container. Okay, core container. So this is what when you are learning Spring, this is the one we will be learning at the beginning, right? Spring core. Okay, the beans, Spring core. The Spring context. Spring. Expression language we'll use, and it's used for testing also, right? Testing also. And here we have a multiple data access integration. So it means JDBC. JDBC means Java database connectivity, ORM, right? ORM, object level mapping, JMS, transactions, OSM. So Spring will be used in for in their application. So Spring, that is the reason Spring will call as a application framework, right? Application framework. So for entire application, we'll use what? Spring. All right, right? So if you're going for a course for Spring, first of all, we will be learning about Spring core container. Okay, so how to use beans, how to use beans, how to use the application, the Spring container. Okay, then we'll move on to what? The Spring Web part. Okay, and we'll work on Spring ORM, other stuff, right? That's all. Fine. Okay. So when I discussed about in the previous page here, okay? Previous page when I discussed about, here we have bean, we said, right? We have bean. Okay. Okay. So here this model we'll call as Java Bean. So what is Java Bean? We discussed here. It is used for reusable software component, right? Okay. So whenever if you are going for a Spring or if you're going for Java application, there will be lot of business components there. N number of business components are there, right? Okay. So it is not easy to handle all this stuff. Okay, we will be facing a lot of issues. Like the tight coupling will use. So we will use something called a Spring container. Okay, so what is the role of a Spring container means? The Spring container will maintain these life cycle of beans. Okay, all the beans means if you are using let's say 100 beans in the application. Okay, so all the beans will be maintained by the Spring core container. So maintain means what? Making the object, destroying the object, the wiring part, the dependency injection part, everything done by the Spring core container. Okay. So this Spring core container is the basic of Spring. So first of all, we have to learn that. Okay. We have to learn that when you are going for Spring, if you are going for Spring, course, this actually is important to understand that, to work on Spring. Okay. Yeah, but as of now, we'll just, we just give a glance on this. and we cannot go in detail here. Okay. So as I discussed, we have a Java bean. So these Java beans will be automatically made by the Spring, content. Spring having something called container, it will automatically create those beans of it. Okay. Now we will work on the MVC, Spring MVC. Okay. Fine. So what is Spring MVC here? Okay. So I'll just zoom it. Yeah, fine. Okay. So this is actually a Spring MVC flow. Okay. Okay. So I think if you remember, I have told something about called servlets, right? Servlets. So what is servlets will do? Servlet is used to generate a dynamic content, right? Dynamic content to the client. Okay. But if you're using Spring framework, we no need to make a servlet. Servlets, we no need to create at all. Okay. So Spring itself will provide a servlet called dispatcher servlet. Okay, Spring makes the dispatch servlet. Okay, so we no need to make any servlet actually. If we are not using Spring, we have to make the servlet. But if you are using Spring, the servlet is actually made by the are given by the Spring itself. Okay, the Spring library, it has they will provide a servlet called dispatcher servlet. Okay, and we have to make controllers. Controller 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I have mentioned a lot of controllers. So here, what is a controller means? Here, the logic, I can have it. I can have some small logic here. Okay, so we can call it as a controller bean also. Okay, we can call it a controller bean. Let's say this controller 1, it is actually responsible for login. This controller 2 is actually responsible for adding employee. This controller 3 is, we can say, is actually responsible for retrieving the employees. Okay, so we got 3 controllers. Okay, one is for login, one is for adding the employees, one is for retrieving the employees. So, but we have a single servlet called dispatch servlet. Okay, so this servlet we no need to make. Okay, so this servlet is given by the Spring itself. So we'll call this servlet as a front controller. Front controller means all the requests comes from Spring will be handled by a single servlet called dispatcher servlet. Okay, so we no need to raise servlet. So remember, I just show the previous the old one. If you are not using Spring, you have to take care of this. Okay, you have to take it. So you have to make your own servlet, right? You have to make your own servlet class. Okay, but if you are going for Spring framework, this part is not required. This part is not required. Okay, so we can start working on the application. Okay, so this servlet is given by whom? By the Spring, and this name of the servlet is called dispatcher servlet. Okay, and the controllers. Okay, control 1, 2, 3, as I told, and assume that these are classes. Okay, control 1, 2, 3 are classes, right? So now think about that. If you want to invoke, a method in the controller bean. Okay, what you will do? I have a class, right? I have a class called dispatcher servlet. If you want to invoke this particular method in a class, okay, I want to invoke the method in the class. What you will do? Usually, what you will do? You will make an object, right? You will make object of the class, and you will invoke the objects, right? You will invoke the methods, right? But when you go for Spring, okay, Spring magically will make these objects. So we no need to make any objects at all. We just want to make a class. That's it, right? We just want to make class. Spring automatically, makes those objects. Okay. So because if you make your own, if you make the object by your own, it makes a lot of problems. I just give one scenario here. Let's say, as in that you have a class here. Okay. You have a class. Okay. Let's say as that you have a class as a controller class. Let's say this one. Okay, this controller 1. Okay, let's say controller 1. Okay, so maybe this is a login controller. Okay, maybe this is a login controller. Okay, but we will not write everything in a single class. Okay, all the logic we will not write here. Okay, so we have to make a different class also. Okay, we have to make a different class also. Okay, so as a developer, we will not write all these code in a single class. Okay, so this is a kind of called cohesion we'll call. Okay, see, for a project, there are n number of developers are working, right? N number of developers are working, and all IT companies are hiring, many people. So the reason is what? We have to write a lot of code. Okay, we have to write a lot of code, right? So here I just given only a single controller class. Okay, single controller class, but actually there will be n number of classes will be there. Okay, so the client request. Okay, this will be a dispatcher. Servlet. Okay, dispatcher servlet. Okay, fine. And the client request. So the client will give a request to whom? To the dispatch servlet, right? The client will give a request to dispatch servlet. Okay, and the dispatch servlet will call the controller class. Just assume that controller. Okay, and this controller will call a different service. Okay, so maybe this service is called, let's say, something called as a login service. There could be n number of classes will be there. Okay, and now this service will call again, another class. Okay, let's say assume that it's a login repo. Okay, and this will connect with the database. Okay, this will connect with the database. Okay, just assume that, okay, you have this structure in your application. So because we have to write a lot of code, you have n number of classes, you have to design properly, you have plenty of code you have. Okay, so remember, so the client will give a request to whom? To the servlet, dispatch servlet, right? Okay, as I discussed. Okay, client user will give request to the servlet. Okay, and the servlet will give or dispatch the request to whom? The controller class. Okay, this is one class, right? One class. Now this class, okay, will make a request or will make call to a different class. This will call to a different class. I given here 3 layers, right? But in the case of real-time application, there will be n number of layers. Okay. So we cannot put everything in a single picture. That's what I have made it here simple, but actually will be like this. Okay. Client request, servlet, controllers, login service, repository, everything. Okay, we'll be having here. Okay. Now just assume that there are many developers are working on it, right? There are many developers working on it. Okay. So let's say this is a developers. Okay. This is a developer working in Pune. Okay. Let's say developer, working in Pune office. Okay. You are working in a IT company and he's working in Pune. Now let's say this is a developer is working in Bengal. Now this is another developer, working in Delhi. Okay, Delhi. Okay. Okay, so you are working in Delhi. Okay, so now your job is to write this code. And the other job who is working in Bangalore, his job is to write this code. Okay. Other guys who is working in Pune, he has to write this code. Okay. So now assume that, just assume you have bug here. Okay. Just assume there's a bug. Okay. So there is a bug. There is a bug in this particular code. Okay. Okay, just assume in this code, in the login repository, there's a bug. Okay, there's a bug in the login repository. Okay. Fine. So how we will find this bug? See, in the software industry, we have to do testing. You make a code, you have to test. Okay, you have to make a code and test. Okay, that is what we'll call. Okay, so we'll call something called unit testing. Okay, write a code, test it. Now the person who is working in Delhi, okay, is testing his code. Okay, he's testing his code. He's testing, his code. Okay, this guy, is working in, in Delhi. He is testing his code. Okay. Now, what will happen? This will call service. Okay. This will call, a repository, right? Now, his code is pakka. No doubt. There is no error, nothing. Okay. And this code will call service. This code will call, login repository. Okay. Now, here you have bug. What will happen? When you test this code, okay, the probability the test will be failed. Okay. It will fail because you have a bug here. But the person who is working on Delhi, how he can resolve the bug happening in Pune, right? Because this is a different developer, he's working on Pune, right? How we can, how he can, clear the bug for this, right? That is impossible to do that. So that is what I will say. Java application is very complex. Okay, it's very complex to develop, right? Because there are n number of classes, n number of developers, right? Because we know the job market, right? There are n number of hirings happening for Java, right? So it means companies require that much, developers, right? So it means you will be writing a lot of code, a lot of classes, and each class will call each other, right? Each other, and if there's a bug in one, if you're testing the problem, because testing is very, very important part here. Testing is very, very important part in your application. Okay, you write a code, test it. So how to resolve these kind of issues? So we have to do something called decoupling. Okay, so as of now here, all these components are tightly coupled, right? Here, all components are tightly coupled each other. Coupled each other. Okay, tightly coupled. So we have to loose couple. So to do loose couple, we have to change the design, all this stuff, right? So moreover, as of now, if you are knowing core Java, we will be making object here, right? We'll be making object of login service here. Because we have to call, we have to make a login service object here. And at the same time, we have to make object of login repository here. New login repo, we have to make object of login repo. Okay. So because each component have to make the object of other. Okay, because if I want to make a call to this, okay, I have to make object here. If I want to make call to this, I have to make this object, right? So that is a big problem here. Okay. So we have a concept called dependence injection. Okay. So through dependence injection, Spring, will do decoupling. Okay. So through dependence injection, okay, Spring decouple those, decouple the components. Okay. These components. Okay. So for that, we have to learn about the Spring core part. Okay. So I have mentioned in the Spring module, we have the Spring core. We have to learn it. Okay. We have to learn Spring core here. Okay. To decouple, those components here. Okay. So as of now, we cannot go in detail here. Okay. How the Spring works, how the core works, because of course we have to write these classes. Okay. And these classes are tightly coupled each other. So to decouple, we have to use a dependence injection. DI. I have given a short here. What DI? So DI stands for dependence injection. So we have to learn. Now we have to learn this part. The dependence injection part we have to learn. That will that you have to learn it. Fine. Okay. Fine. So I'm not touching this actually now. Okay. Fine. So now we're back to the Spring, Spring MVC part. Okay. This is Spring MVC, right? The user requires servlet. Servlet will call the controller class. Servlet, remember, servlet we have not made. Spring already made. Servlet will call controller. And the controller will call service. Service will call, repository. There are a lot of things, right? Control will call servlet. Control will call service. Service will call repository. Will call the database. So we have to learn first Spring core. Okay, we have to learn Spring core. Okay, then we have to come back to the Spring MVC part. Okay, Spring MVC part you have to come. Okay, okay. So that it will give a response, right? What is the response? The model. They're giving a request. The response is model. So model means what? It's the data. Okay, model means is the data, and this data will be displayed in the client. Okay, will be displayed in the client. So we have something called a view template. Okay, we have something called view template or view resolver. Okay, view resolver. Okay, and this view resolver or this view template, or we'll use something called JSPs, will send the the response to the client. Okay, so this is what the Spring MVC part. Okay, user, this is called a front controller. Okay, control part. Controller actually does a lot of things internally here. Okay, let's say you are pulling some data from the database. It pulls the data from the database. Okay, okay, and it gives back to the okay repository. Then you service. Then here, then what? Controller. Okay. So this arrow again goes here. Okay, that's what I have mentioned here. This the model. Model means the data. Okay, model means the data. Okay, it will use as a model object. Okay. Model means is a data part. Get it? Okay, and it will call the the view template. Okay, so they'll call view resolver. Okay, it will give the response to the client. Okay? That's what happens. Okay, fine. So here I have mentioned here. Okay, that is actually Spring Boot part. Okay, yeah. So here I mentioned what is about the front controller, okay, all this stuff, right? I just, if you want, I can just show in the demo part here. I will just work on a demo here. Yeah. Fine. This is a demo I have made here for you. Yeah. I just explain, through this demo also. I just run this application, just explain this demo. Okay, so these are ready-made application on Spring MVC. Okay. Okay. I just run it. When it's getting, it's give me a moment. Yeah. So I just I just run this application now here. Okay, and it's a very simple application. I just it is a HTML file. It's a HTML file, and that's what you are seeing here. Okay, so I'll just give my name. Yes, I'll give my name Albin. It says send. Yeah. So it says I got a reply here. Have a nice day. Right. Have a wonderful day. So this is a simple Spring MVC app. I'll just explain the flow here, how it works. Okay. I explain the flow through the PPT what we discussed. Yeah. Yeah. Fine. See, so this is user, right? User using the browser. Okay. So I am the user. I am using the browser. Okay. This is the browser. Okay. So I am interacting with the application. Okay. I will say I'll give my name. I just enter my name Albin. I'll just click the button submit. So what is happening when you click on submit means, okay, I have made a controller class here. I have made a controller class. So this is a Spring, controller class. Okay, this Spring controller class. Okay. So what code you are seeing is this code is actually, this one, the controller one we have, right? Control. This is the code you are seeing. Okay. But you may have a doubt here, or you may ask, where is this submit? Okay, because we are giving a request submit, right? This submit. Okay, you may ask a question, right? So the moment when you click on button submit, okay, the moment when you click on button submit, the request will goes to a servlet. Okay, so that servlet is called the dispatcher servlet. Okay, that is configured in the XML file. If you open the XML file, there is something called web.xml file. Okay, here I have configured. Okay. Here I configured. No. See the URL, what I'm accessing. I'm accessing the URL called login.html, right? Okay. If I access this particular URL, so it means, if any URL, okay. So this is XML file, okay. So this XML file will call something called, deploy time constants, okay. And here I have mapped, okay. If any URL end with HTML, okay, it maps to URL called CG. I just give the name as CG. Okay. Okay. So what is CG? this is nothing but a servlet called what? Dispatch server. Okay. So here I have done the mapping. So whatever the user is giving a request, right? Okay. So how I have done here, okay, because it has to, the moment when you send a request, it has to call a dispatcher servlet, right? Okay. So we have to do some configurations, we have to do some mappings, right? So that mapping I have done here. Okay. Fine. So this is XML file. Okay. So if you are making a web app, okay, we have to make a XML file. So in the XML file, we have to do some mapping. Okay. So it is the page. So this is a page, what you are seeing here. This is a page what you're seeing here. Okay. Fine. So when you click on the button submit, okay. So I'm accessing which URL? Login.html, right? Accessing login.html URL. Fine. So here form action equal to I'm given login.html. Fine. So here I clearly mentioned if any URL into the HTML, so I have mapped to what? CG. Servlet name is CG. What is CG servlet? Okay, this servlet, it is something called internal name. Okay. So here, okay, here, CG is the internal name. Internal name. Okay, fine. Fine. So here I have clearly mentioned what is that? Okay, it's a dispatch servlet, right? I have mentioned dispatch servlet. So this actually we have to learn it. Okay, fine. So that is what happens. When you give a request, it goes to dispatch servlet, okay? And dispatch servlet will make a call to the controller class, okay? So there could be n number of controller classes, okay? 1, 2, 3, lot of controller classes we have. So it will invoke which controller class, okay? Which controller class it will invoke, okay? How? So in the controller class, okay, I have the login controller class, right? So here I have made something called as mapping. And how to make the controller class? There's annotation called @control. Okay, there's an annotation called @controller. So here I have made a method called login. So in that login, I used the @request mapping, slash login.html. Okay. So what is login.html? So this is the URL I have accessed. See, this is the URL access, right? See the browser URL. So I'm accessing login.html. If the client accesses this URL, okay, this is a controller class, and this will handle the request. Okay, fine. And here I have to write some logic I have to write. Okay, and this is a login method, and I have made username I have made. Okay, and a request param username. So what is this username? So this username is the name of the text box. Okay. So in that, if name of the text box, right? Whatever name I have, entered. Okay, whatever name I have entered. Okay, it has to read the name. The server side, okay, in the backend, it has to read the name, right? So how it will read? How the name will be read, right? The name will be read, okay, here. It has to map here, right? But request param username. So it is a Spring, framework annotation. Okay, so automatically it will, retrieve the user parameters and store in this variable called, uname, right? Uname. Okay, fine. And one thing I have done here is a kind of a login application. Okay, if I given some other than Albin, if I given some let's say Xavier, when I say submit, okay, it will come back to the same page. See, it is not working, right? When I say submit, it is coming back to same page, right? But it will work only if you go for Albin. So such logic I have written in the controller. Okay, so here I have mentioned if the uname dot equals Albin, right? Albin. So what is how the uname becomes Albin? Because whatever data sends from the client will be stored in the uname, right? So it is a kind of a dependence injection actually. So it will collect the user parameter data called username. So this username, this test box name, right? This test box name. Okay, this has to match. Okay, uname, right? If the uname dot equals Albin, then there is object called model and view. Okay, in the model and view, you will just add a message. What is the message it adds? Hi, the uname Albin, have a wonderful day. And it sets the view name as what? Welcome.jsp. So there is a file, there's another file called welcome.jsp. So this JSP is going to display the data. So this JSP is displaying the data. So whatever you are seeing, right? Okay. So whatever you're seeing, this is actually this, okay? This message is going to be, displayed by the JSP. So you are seeing something, some response, no? So this response actually comes from where? From this view. From this, okay? So that is also font color equal to green, right? Green. Is if we make it blue, okay, then of course the response will be blue, right? Okay, so when I refresh now, it's in the blue, right? Blue, right? So it means what? But make sure, see, I given a request to the login registry, right? Means the controller, okay? See the architecture, see the architecture here. I given a request to the, I not given directly to this view. This view will only, comes into the picture will, once the login is success, right? I give a request to dispatch server. Dispatch server will give a request to the controller. Controller will process the request, right? If it is Albin, then it dispatches the request to the welcome page. If it is not Albin, it will, call the same page once again, right? That's all. Okay. So here the condition, right? If the username is Albin, it, sets the view name as what? Welcome to JSP, or else, else part, it makes as what? Home.html. What is home.html? Home.html is the same page. This is a page. Okay, this is the page again. It will go back to the same page. So that is the reason. I just push this here. So that is the reason. If you are, if you are not, if you're not given Albin, you are come back to the same page, right? I think you could see in a lot of websites. Okay, a lot of websites you could see, right? Whenever if you given wrong credentials, right, you'll come back to the same page, right? So this is the reason, right? So here the controller class, the controller controlling the flow, right? Control the flow. That's why the name is controller, right? The name is matter, right? Okay, it's control. It will control the flow, right? Fine. That's all. Fine. Okay. That's all. Make you wrong, but you may ask a question now. We have done it. Okay, we have, if you given correct, it goes to here. If you're giving some wrong username, it comes back here. But I want to display the error message here, right? I want to display the error message here also that the user is invalid. Okay, you want to display here also. Okay, the user is invalid. You want to display, right? I can do, but this page is here. See, it is a JSP. Welcome the JSP is JSP. What is JSP? JSP is what? Java server page. Okay, so it means it is dynamic. It is not a static. It is a dynamic page. Okay, so dynamically it can able to read the data. So this message, okay, this message is actually dynamically, I'm able to print. Okay, this message I'm dynamically print. Okay, this whatever I'm doing the same thing here. No, I want to do the same for login the system also, right? I want to print something dynamically. Login is failed, something I want to print. Okay, so what I will do is better. I will rename this file. Okay, instead of HTML, I will make as a JSP. I will rename as a JSP. Okay, JSP. Small letter JSP. I'll make it a JSP. So it is now it is a dynamic page. Okay, HTML is a static content. Okay, and JSP is a dynamic content. Okay, I made a JSP. So now I can print here also. Okay, so what I should do is, okay, so it is not enough. Now I'll go to the servlet here, and yes, else part. Okay, I have to add something, right? I have to add something, and it's not here. HTML is a JSP here, right? JSP. Okay, and I have to add something here. MAV dot, add object. Okay, I'll say error. So what I should mention here, invalid currency. Invalid currency. So this message, will be displayed in the client. Okay, will be displayed client. Okay, so now I will do the same here once again. Yeah. So now it is not a HTML, it's a JSP. Okay, when you refresh now, it should give error because I have changed it as what JSP now, right? So it is JSP file. JSP, right? So now If you give in correct username, it's going fine. If you give me some wrong username, it's coming back, but now only thing is I have to print it here, right? I print here, okay? So how I printed? Here I have printed, by using this, right? So here also I should print the same. I think you can guess it now, how to do it. I can just say dollar, okay, and just here, okay, here. This is a kind of expression. Okay, it's a kind of expression language, okay, EL we'll call it, okay, expression language. Fine. I'll print here. So this error message, okay, will you print here? Again back, okay. Now again I will refresh here. This time it will not print. I'll just print something in okay. Yes. But at the beginning it will not print. At the beginning it will not print, okay. But when you given some wrong password, that time it will print. Okay, that time it come into mind. If you're given right username, yes, it goes to the success page, right? If you're giving some wrong username, we'll say Albin Xavier. Okay, if you give wrong username, it will come to valid corrected. So this is a simple, Spring MVC, right? Simple Spring MVC. But here I have not connected to the database. So here I have checked manually, right? Okay, I have checked with my name, right? My name I have checked with Albin. I have checked. Okay, but this is not right way, right? So we have to connect to the database, right? It is not static, right? Because you have a lot of users, right? But because this application now it will work only for Albin. Okay. Okay, if you want to use other users, it will not work out. Okay, it will work only for my name only. It won't work out for other users. Fine. Okay, so that's all. If you have any questions, you can fine. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Fine then. So now, if you have any questions, let me know in the chat window. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to next then. Okay. So this is Spring framework. Okay, the Spring MVC. Okay. But here, if you notice that, this controller bean. Okay, if you notice that this controller bean, who is making the object of controller bean? So this, this part we have to understand while learning Spring 4 only. Okay, we have to learn the basics of Spring 4. So further we have to learn. Okay. So we have made a simple web app, but we have to understand the very basics. Okay. So without basics, directly dive into Spring MVC will be tough. But thing is now you got it. Okay, the agenda, you got the the expectation you got, right? Okay, fine. But we have to work from the Spring code. Okay, that is very important. Okay. Okay. Fine then. I'll move on to next. Spring Boot. I will go. Yeah. Okay. So what is Spring Boot basically is the Spring Boot is built on top of the Spring framework. It's easier and faster way to set up. Okay, fine. So what is about that? See, if you're going for Spring framework, okay, that is well and good. But then you see, if you notice that we have two XML files. Okay, we have web.xml files. Okay, and we have something called a different XML file. Okay, hello server. Okay, so you got two XML files you have. Okay, we got, so apart from writing logic, okay, apart from writing logic, we have to work on these XML files also, right? Okay, fine. So So in the projects, they may use Spring Framework, okay, but maybe in the new projects, okay, they may use Spring Boot. But when you go for traditional applications, okay, let's say the long run application, right, the older application, still they use the normal Spring, okay. So when you go for Spring Boot, what is advantage you will be getting means you no need to write, much code on that, okay. Okay. So goals of Spring Boot, okay, what is the goals basically is, it is provide some opinionated approach. Opinionated approach means, see, my intention. So my intention to make a controller. Okay, my intention to make a servlet or a controller, right? Okay, this is my intention, right? Okay, I user give a request. This should solve my problem. But thing is, I have to, work on the supportive files. Okay, all the configurations, right? XML configurations, this XML, this XML. Lot of configurations I have to take. So as of now, it looks very simple. If you're connecting to the database, then again we have to do more and more configurations here. Okay, so that time it will be a problem. Okay, so that is the reason we are going for a Spring Boot. So Spring Boot is our opinionated approach. Okay, so it means I want to make controller directly. I can set controller. So no need to write any external configurations. Okay, nothing. Avoid a lot of import statements. Avoid more annotations configuration, more annotation. We need less annotation, less configuration, not more. We have to write some annotation, but it's less. And avoid XML configuration. Avoid writing lot of info. Okay. So this is the goal of the Spring Boot. So to make the development very faster, Spring Framework is perfectly fine. But the only thing is here we have to do a lot of configuration, right? And one more thing, here, if I am developing the application, okay, if you are using a Spring Web App, I have, okay, because I have already, I have, I have configured something called a server. Okay. Okay. So there is a Tomcat server which is running here. Okay. I think nobody noticed that, right? So there's a Tomcat server already running. So I have to download the Tomcat. I have to. So in this Tomcat, my app is running here. Okay. So this I have to take it, right? I have to download and I have to make a configuration. Okay, here, because if you remember when you talk about Java EE architecture, I have told about server, right? I have told about server, right? So we need a server, right? So I have to take care of that also. Okay. Clients, we have Java EE server, okay, and the database server, okay, database, post database, right? So I have told about Java EE server, right here. So your application will be reset on the server side only, okay. So this application is actually running on the server side. Okay. So when you say start running here, when you say start run JSP, it will run on the server. See, well, how will run now? I will say run on server. So it will run on the server only. Okay, that is all. Okay. So this makes the development very slower also, right? Because as a developer, unnecessarily I had to do a lot of job. Okay, a lot of other stuff. Okay, configurations, XML configurations, annotation configurations. Then I had to, I have to do server here. I had to configure server here. There is some lot of issues. When you talk about Spring Boot, right? When you talk about Spring Boot, nothing. Even no need of even server here. Okay, we talk about Spring, even server itself not required. Okay, so what is Spring Boot basically is Spring Framework plus the Spring itself will provide something called as embedded server, Tomcat. Okay, so the Spring itself will provide something embedded Tomcat. Okay, and we no need to write any XML configuration. So this is equal to Spring Boot. Okay, so Spring Boot basically makes again more the development easy. So no need to make any server. The Spring Boot itself will come with something called as what embedded server. Okay, and we have a Spring Framework plus this thing, and we no need to do much configuration. Okay, so this XML files configurations is not completely required. Okay, this XML file configuration is actually not required when you go for a Spring Boot. Okay, not required, right? That's all. Spring Framework. Okay, so this is called Spring Boot. Okay, in simple way we will say it is a opinionated development approach. Okay, so no need to write the code from the basic scratch, right? It automatically does, it does. everything for you. Okay, fine. Okay. If any questions, we can. Okay, we can just yeah. So now we discussed about web service. So we will work Spring Boot and REST API because we'll in quick short we'll discuss Spring Boot with REST API. We're working something called REST API. Okay, so I'll just talk something about web services. What is web service? So web services are a type of internet software that is used for standardized messaging protocols and made available for applications. Right? It is a type of internet software. Okay, it's used to standardize the messaging protocol and made available for application providers, web server, for a client. So it is a service. Okay, it is a service, right? It's available over the internet. Okay, web service is a service available over the internet. So anyone can access the service. Okay, so that is basically called as what? A web service. Okay, a web service. Okay, so basically I'll just give you one example of a service here. Let's say you have phones, right? You have your phone, right? Let's say you have an iPhone or you have an Android phone or Android phone. There are many devices, right? Android, or there are many what you have, right? Fine. Maybe many brands we can say, Samsung or Redmi or Google. Okay. So let's say it's iPhone. So we have iPhone here. Let's say it is Samsung phone, and maybe it is a Google phone we have. Okay, Google phone. Now every phone having a weather apps, right? Here also having weather app. Every phone having weather app. Okay. So what is basically app? Okay. So basically, a app is what it having some UI, right? When you talk about a mobile app, means it having some it has some UI, right? Mobile app basically having some UI. Mobile app it has just inbuilt UI, right? It has UI. Fine, yes, UI. Okay. Now, how the iPhone will get the weather details, right? It's and you are in Bengaluru, and you want to know the temperature, right? You want to know weather updates after the weather, whether it will rain, or what is the current temperature, okay? When it will get rain, I want to know the details. So, if you're using iPhone, you will check in the weather app, right? Okay, and if you're in Samsung, also will do the same. If you're using Google phone, also yeah, the same, because every phone having the weather app, right? Now, from how they get the data, okay, whether iPhone or Samsung or Google phone, how they get the data? We know these satellites, right? Satellites launched by NASA or ISRO. Okay, so they provide the details of the weather. Okay, the current weather details they will provide. Okay? Now, when you talk about iPhone, to get the weather details, whether iPhone launched a separate satellite for that, or Samsung launched a separate satellite for to get the weather details, or Google phone launched a separate satellite or a separate satellite for the for weather details. No, right? That is impossible. No. So what they will do is they will no need to launch separate satellites, right? So they have something, they will subscribe something called the APIs, right? So let's say this is one API. Okay, this is one online API. Okay. This is an online API or a web service hosted over the internet. Okay, maybe this is an online API or a web service. I'll call it a web service. Okay, hosted over the network. Okay, hosted in the internet. Example, maybe example Akvoda. Okay, Akvoda.com. Okay, Akvoda. So Akvoda will provide the details of the weather. Okay, So now what you guys do means, okay, now these guys will approach, okay, will subscribe those whether, okay, so these guys will send the data, okay, okay, will subscribe, this case will subscribe, okay, and you will get other details, right? Will subscribes, and this will sends the weather details. Okay, send the data, okay, fine. Now I ask a question now, fine. So now we have weather apps, right? So this UI will be same or different. So when you talk about iPhone, when you talk about Samsung, or when you talk about Google phone, this UI will be same or different. The UI is different, right? When you talk about Samsung, or when you talk about iPhone, it has a different UI. Okay, it has a different UI. Talk about iPhone, different UI user interface, and Samsung different user interface, and Google Chrome different user interface. Everybody having their own UI. Okay. So now this web service will only send the data only, not the page, cannot enter page. So earlier when you talk about this web app, about web app, right? We have done with the web app. So it is a normal application. So this page, complete page, is sent from the server. Server sends the ended page to the client. Okay, server sends the ended page to the client. Okay, fine. Now when you talk about this web services, okay, it will not send the ended page to the client. Okay, it will send only data. Okay, so these guys will subscribe. Okay, these guys will subscribe. Okay, and these guys will send the data to the client. Okay, this guys will send the data to the client. Okay, and the data will be sent in what format? What format? Okay, how the data will be sent? If you are sending as a whole page, mean that is fine. Okay, whole page. As of now, I'm getting the whole page as a web user. As a web user, I will send as a whole page. That is fine. But now, how I will send as a whole page? Whole page not required, no, because when you talk about the iPhone or Samsung or Google phone, already we have the UI, right? We just want to send the data. Okay, how the data will be sent? So the data will be sent, in the form of XML or JSON. Okay, the form of XML or JSON format. This data will be sent to the client. Okay. So data from the web server, okay, will send, with the help of XML or JSON. Give me a moment. So the XML, okay. So for Samsung also, it will be sent in the form of XML or JSON. And for Google phone also, it will send in the form of XML or fine. So you subscribe, you will receive the data. Okay, fine. Okay, so so not only this app, right? Let's say I'm using a mobile phone. I'm using some different. I'm using some different device. Okay, so maybe I can use here some other app. Maybe a Java client, maybe a Python client, or maybe maybe a C++ client. Anyone can access. Okay, so this particular data, why this sends as XML or JSON data means this particular data will be understood by all the clients. Okay, it will be understood by all. That is the reason it sends in the form of XML and JSON data. See, as I told already, what is a purpose of websites? Okay, are a type of internet software. Okay, that is used for standardized messaging protocol. Okay. Okay, so internet software means people may use different type of software, different type of devices, right? So now every device, this data should be compatible. This data should be compatible in all the devices, right? Okay, so it is not just maybe HTML or maybe XML or JSON. It could be many formats. Okay, this particular the user want, let's say I want XML or I want JSON. I want HTML. Okay, I want image. Okay, process. Okay, I want in some stream I want. So now depends upon the user. Okay, depends upon user. Okay, this service will send or will respond in such a way. Sometimes it may send XML, sometimes it may send JSON, any format. If you are using a normal web app, okay, always it sends in a single format. Okay, single format, right? Because it's a single web app only, right? But now we have different devices. Okay, iPhone different device, Samsung different device, Google phone different device. Maybe we have a different programming, different server. Okay, so they have different device. So the format should be different. Okay, format should be different, right? So now it is XML JSON. Maybe you may have some different format you will get it. So how we can achieve that? With the help of what? The help of web service. So web service will understand this client need what? This client need what? Okay, so based upon the client negotiation, the web service will send the data to the client. Okay, just try to understand here. Just try to understand. Okay, let's say I am using a Samsung phone. Okay, Samsung phone will be compatible only for JSON. Okay, JSON. And then there are now one more. My friend is using a Google phone. This phone is very compatible with the XML. Okay. Now iPhone, this guy is compatible in what? Again JSON. So depends upon the user. Okay, depends upon user negotiation. The web service can understand, and it can talk to the devices. Okay, in what way I want to talk. Okay, whether XML or JSON, in the format it can talk. So we will use a term called something called interoperability. Interoperability. There's a term interoperability. So it means many servers, many devices can talk to each other. Okay. So if you just apply the interoperability in Google, okay. Interoperability. So in simple words. Yeah. So interoperability is a real-time data exchange between different systems, okay, that can speak to other, okay, the same language. Okay. Different systems, they can speak directly, fine. So fine. So different devices, they can still talk. Okay, in what format you want, you can talk. Okay, let's say iPhone says I'm very comfortable with JSON. Google phone says I'm very comfortable in XML. Okay, and this says I'm very comfortable only JSON. And different devices I'm comfortable only in the image format. Other devices they say I'm comfortable only in the image format. So what format you want, this will talk. So that is basically a web service. So web service is a service which is hosted in the internet. Okay, this internet. Okay, fine. Any questions you can ping me. Okay, can help you out. Fine. Okay. So there are different types of web services. Okay. Wait. Okay. Wait a minute. There are two different types of services. One is SOAP-based web services and one is a REST-based web service. One is SOAP-based and one is a REST-based web service. Okay. SOAP-based is pretty old. Okay. For very legacy systems, they will use SOAP-based web services. Okay. So most of the users will use for now REST-based. Okay. Okay. So we also will follow the REST-based API. Okay. So we'll use Spring with REST with REST. Spring with REST we'll use. And we'll use Spring Boot also. We just given a glance on Spring Boot, right? We just made a glance of Spring Boot. Okay, we'll see that. So I'm going to just make a small app here. Okay, I'm going to make a small app here. Okay. With the help of something called Spring Starter project or Spring. So I make an app here. Okay, and here I choose something called Maven. and dot, I will say the name as geek I will make, and say my simple app lab package com dot geek. Next I will say, and what a dependency I want to add. Okay, so I'll say something of web. I will be going for web dependency. Yeah, Spring Web. So of course we have to learn all the things, okay? Because Spring Initializer, how to use Spring Initializer, you have to learn, okay? And what is Maven? Because in the previous I discussed about Maven, and I have made in Groovy. What is this? We need to understand, okay? So let's choose Spring Web as a dependency here. Just nest and so I made an app. Okay, I made an app here. Okay, so now you will be understanding the importance of Spring Boot. Okay, what is the advantage of Spring Boot? You will be understanding. Okay, so this app is made here. Okay, this app is made here. Fine. So see, within a fraction of moment, I'll make an app here. Okay, I made an app. I made an application here. Let me increase the font size if you want. The font is okay, right? Yeah. Let me know if you need a increase of font size. Now, as we learned earlier, Spring MVC we have learned, right? The Spring MVC, we want the dispatch server, right? We have dispatch server, we have controller class, we have learned all the things here, right? Okay, we have learned all the things here. But when you talk about Spring Boot, we no need to configure dispatch server. We need to do there will be dispatch server, but we have to configure here. Okay, directly we can make it. Okay? So directly straight away I'll make application. Okay, so geek dot. Okay, let's say controller. I'll make the name. I'll say let's say my controller. I'll just make my controller. Okay, and I will give how to make a controller here is there is a annotation called since it's a REST. I'm going to make a REST API. I'm going at REST controller. I have to make a REST controller here. Okay, and I'll make a function here. Okay, let's say public thing. Let's say say hello something. I'll also return. I'll just make string here. The hello something. Okay. And here I will use annotation at get map. I use that get map. Fine. So listen all of you. I just made app, right? I in front of you, I just made app here. And I have made just one class. This class is inbuilt class. This inbuilt class already they have it, okay? And there's a control class I have this I have made. Okay? Now it is all ready for my app. Okay. So this is Spring Boot app, okay? It's a Spring Boot app actually. So what is advantage of Spring Boot? We discussed, sometime back. So no need to do any configuration, XML, nothing. Within a fraction of a moment, we can make an app, right? So now I'm just run the application now. See, I'm just on this application now. It is now starting. It is using Spring 3.3 version, Spring Boot 3.3 version. Spring Boot 3 already in use. Okay, 80 is already in use. Okay, so this is might be it uses port number 8080 somewhere. So in my previous application using the same port number. Let me stop it. Let me stop that. Yeah, stop here. Now again I'll run this application. Because my previous app I used the same port number 8080. The Spring Boot internally uses 8080. Yes, it's done. See, if you maximize the console, it says it's Spring. The Tomcat started 8080. See, I haven't configured any server, nothing, right? I just made a app in front of you. In front of you, just made an app here, and I just executed here. That's it, right? Okay. Now I'll open the browser here. I'll say HTTP localhost, the port number 8080. That's the default port number it uses. Okay. And what is the URL given? Okay, nothing given. I just say enter. I'll get hello. So this hello is what actually this. Okay. And I have not given any URL specifically. So I just only if you say 8080, that is fine. So Spring Boot internally, having an embedded server. Okay, embedded server called Tomcat. So I told already, okay, Spring Framework plus embedded server minus XML configuration equal to Spring Boot. See, here I have not done any configuration. When you're talking about normal Spring, we have to write these configurations. Okay, this configuration is required. But Spring Boot will not, no need of this configuration. Okay, so directly set we can make this application. Okay, but thing is we should know. Okay, as a learner we should know because Spring Boot is working on the top of that. Spring Boot is working on the top of Spring Framework. Okay, because Spring Framework plus. Because if you want to do any configurations, if you want to change something, then we have to change. We have to change, right? Now this URL is hello, right? Now I want to give a different different URL, different input. Okay. So what I will do is I will make one more method here. I'll make one more method. Okay. Let's say I will say wish something. I will say wish. Okay. Return I will say good morning. I will say good morning. Okay. And get mapping, I'll give some different thing. The slash, I will say wish. Okay. Now I'll restart my application now. I will relaunch it now. Now if you simply say hello, when you simply access this URL, sorry. This will be trigger, right? When you say wish, this will be trigger. The browser, okay, slash wish. This will be trigger. Okay, so different URL. Okay, single controller, different URL. Slash this one, wish means this one, right? Fine. So very straightforward. Okay, very straightforward. Directly, we can make a application. Directly, we can, straight away we can run. So no need any library. If you are working with Spring Framework, I will tell you, you have to add this library, jar files here. You need the library. These jar files you have to copy paste in my application. Okay, and this is my file I had told already, right? And this is a very tough task, right? But when you go for Spring Boot, it's pretty easy. Okay, fine. So nothing, no need of any jar files, but we need because we use something called Maven. It pull all the jar files from the internet. Okay, because if you remember, the moment I made the Spring project, okay, I have choose something called Maven. Okay, so Maven I choose, right? Okay, so Maven, pull all the required jar files from the internet. Means all the required, the repositories from the internet. Okay, means it's from the remote repository, it will pull for us. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Okay. So this is actually a REST API. Okay, this is actually a REST API. We discussed what is REST API. Right? What is REST API? REST API is a software. It is hosted in the internet, right? It is hosted in the internet. That is what we say as REST API. Okay, we discussed here. Right? Okay. And we discuss here again about weather details, right? Weather details. Okay. It will send XML or JSON data. It sends like that. I have mentioned. Okay. Let's say we'll do the same thing, right? We'll do some dummy details here. Okay. As of now, it sends. I have written only proper HTML. Always I send HTML, right? I send only HTML. Now let's say if you want to send, a JSON or XML, okay, then we have to configure the mode. Okay, so let's say if you want to send the JSON data, let's say then I have to make, let's say I'll make a dummy object here. Let's say weather. Okay, weather. I'll just make a weather class here, and I'll make some fields. Say private, in I will say float, max weather or max term or right, float, min term. I'll say private, float, current temperature. I'll say private thing, city or place name, say place name. I'll say private string description. So I'll make a default constructor. I'll make setters and getters. Okay, and I will make something. I will make a parameter constructor. Yeah. Okay, fine. I just made this class. Okay, I just made this class. Okay, so now my REST API as of now returns here HTML, right? H1 HTML. Okay. Now this time just return here weather here. So how it will work? Okay, we'll see. Okay. So let's say we'll say public. Okay. I'll just make the return type is a weather. Okay. Okay. This sample weather. I just made this object here. This kind also return null. As of now, I'll just make it here. I'll make object of weather class. Weather w equal to weather of. So what's the max temperature? So I'm in Bengaluru. So max temperature here is it looks very cloudy here as of now. So let's say I'll say 20. I'm not sure. Maybe let's say 24. Min term let's say 18. I will say current temperature let's say 22. And this is actually Bengaluru. Right? And okay, it's actually cloud. This is a description. Okay, and I return the W. So now I used here what W. Okay, here I will say at git mapping. I'll use a different URL slash. Will say but. So now see here it returns how it returns string, right? It returns the HTML part, right? How it returns here, how it works here, Okay, so we'll see now. Okay, let me restart here. Okay. Now when I say wish is say good morning, fine. Now my application is now if we say weather, if we say weather here, just say weather. See, it returns in the JSON format. It returns the same within the JSON format. Why JSON? I told earlier, right? Because we have different devices, right? So these guys want to talk to each other. Okay, these guys want to talk to each other, right? Okay, so I have a simple weather application. We have iPhone, Samsung, Google phone. So now this service have to return some data to the client, and how it compatible? See, right now I am just giving some more stuff here, right? Okay, you guys are watching, from different places. So maybe your mother tongue will be different, right? Maybe you may speak Hindi, you may speak Marathi, you may speak Telugu, you may speak Tamil, you may speak Kannada, Malayalam, whatever, right? But we are speaking common language. Why? Because common language, English will understand by all, right? Similarly, even these are different devices. Maybe this device may be support of Java. Maybe this device support of Python. Maybe this device support of C#. Maybe some different devices. Okay, we'll use. Okay, so now we cannot make a call to one to other directly. Okay, maybe okay. So it should communicate within a common language. So the common language is actually what? XML or JSON. It's a common language, right? Interoperability. Everyone should understand. Everyone should understand. So might be for new users or freshers. Might be you may find it bit tough, the concepts. Because I'm just giving glance only. I'm trying to make it simple because I have not made very big applications. I made a very simple application only. But the use case I given this, right? I have given this use case. I'll give one more use case that you will understand much better. Because these computers have to talk in a common language. That is very important. Okay. These computers have to talk in a common language. Okay. Fine. So we use what? We use a REST API. Okay, we use a REST API, REST control. So this will be, through that, it will, every systems can able to understand, right? Because it supports n number formats, XML, JSON. It supports n number format, right? Okay. If you have any questions, doubts, you can ask me. Okay, fine. Okay. So now, now I got the data, right? Now we got the data from server to client. Okay, so if the client wants to send the data to server, the client wants to send the data to server, how we can send the data, right? Then we have to use something called a postman, or else let's say I'll just let's say I have a client form. Let's say this is a client UI. So it's a client UI form, right? So this is my REST API. REST API service. This is my REST API. So we understand this will communicate with the help of either XML or either by JSON. So the data will be in the form of what? XML or JSON data. XML or JSON data. Okay. So this is a request. The request, this is a response. Okay. So the client UI form having a lot of details. Okay. Okay. Let's say first name, last name, city, it having some lot of other details also. Okay. Okay. This is an email. So it having a lot of details. So how the details will be sent to the server? So I will say sent. Okay, I will say sent, right? Okay, so now these details have to be converted. These details to be converted into a JSON format. Whatever you are filling, whatever data you filled here, when you send, this has to be converted into a JSON format. Okay, JSON format. So what is JSON? So this is JSON format. Key value pair. Key value, key value, key value. It's a JSON format. Okay. So it means it will be sent like this. Let's say first name, colon, something A, comma, last name, colon, B. Something it has to send to server. Okay, it has to send something like this to server. The server receives the data. The server receives the data, right? So we have to understand this XML, JSON format in much better. Okay. So since it's a workshop, since we are going just we are giving the glance, right? Not fast, I can say. We're just giving glance on everything, right? Framework, Spring Boot, okay, and REST API. We're just giving glance here, okay. And this will be sent to the client. Okay, this will be then this form is filled by the client. Okay, and this will be converted into JSON data like this, and this will be sent to the REST API, right? Fine. And in the REST API, it will convert. Okay, it will convert. There's something called as HTTP message converters. It will convert your JSON data to objects. Okay. So let's say I think that I'll just show one more thing here. Okay, I'll show the same application. I'll just show one more thing. Okay, let's say I will. It's a person data. Let's say person data. I'll just show. Okay. They let's say private. String. Let's say first name. First name. Private. String. Last name. Okay. Private. String. String. Okay. Fine. I'll make some setters and getters. I will make setters and getters here. So this is a data I have. This is a bean I have. Okay. Now I want to somebody should send this data from the client. Okay. So what I'll do, I will make a I'll make a different controller. Let's say I'll say something called person controller. Person control make controller will make here. And here I will say click person. Okay, add new person P. Okay, I will say return P. So the idea is, so this is our REST API. Okay, this is our REST API. Okay, this is our REST API, right? So now a person is filling the forms. Okay, first name, last name, the team, and person is filling the form. So this form automatically will be converted into a JSON data, and this will be sent to the REST API. Okay, there's something called HTTP message, something called as convert, that is inbuilt. Okay, converters. Okay, what it will do means it will convert JSON into Java. That's all. Okay, you can JSON to Java. Okay, so for that we have to do some configuration. Simple annotations here, nothing much here. So as usual, I will say this is a REST controller I will have to make. So this is called as something called post mapping, because you're posting some data, right? Post mapping, what to say. And here I have to use something called at request body. This annotation, because whatever data sent from the client just to map here, right? This JSON data should map here, right? So we have to use the annotation called what? At request body. At the request body annotation. Okay, because this data should bind, or this JSON data should bind here, right? So I have to use this, this annotation at request body. I have to use here. So that's it. So okay, so it will just respond. If not, I can just print here. Okay, yes, receive. I just and I will say the URL will say close. I'll again run the application now. Again, I will run the application now. Okay, already is running port number, so I have to stop the ALA room. It's running now. Fine. Start running now here. Yeah. Fine. So now, idea is you have UI form. You fill the details. Okay, and when you send, just to convert it to JSON structure, and it will bind this data to the the REST API. But thing is, our UI form is not ready. This is done by the client developers, right? Client developers do the UI part. Client developers do this UI part. So we haven't made this UI. So our UI is not ready. Okay. So what we'll do means, so for testing the REST API, usually the backend developers use a tool called Postman. Okay. Backend developers uses a tool called, Postman. Okay, because our UI is done by the client developers, right? So we have to use a Postman tool. Okay, so there is a Postman tool I have. So I will be using the Postman tool. Our application is ready. Okay, okay, is Pakka is working fine, perfectly. But it's ready to accept. But the UI is not ready. The UI is done by the client designers. Okay, so now, but this application is just receive the personal data and process it. But as of now, our UI is not ready. So I just made this simple application. So I just my Postman is coming up now. Wait. Postman is launching. It will take a couple of yes, it has come up now. Almost. Fine. So here, what is the URL here? So to access this, the URL is person, right? Person. So let's say I'll open a new tab here. The URL person. Okay, so http:// local host is my host name. Okay, it is the host number / person is the URL. Okay, URL is person / person, right? The URL. Okay, and the method is post, right? Post. I should use what? Post. Okay, and I have to send this data. Okay, I have to send the data via okay, so wait a minute. Fine. So I have to send the data. Okay, so this I have to send it manually. So my this person is first name, right? First name. Let us say first name. I would open first name colon. Let's say we'll say some name. Let's say we'll say okay. Last name. Okay, Sanjay. Okay, and city. Okay, so I'm just sending my data like this. Okay, post. I'm sending this data, right? When you say send now, let's see. Yes, I got a response here. It's working perfectly fine. See the 200, okay. Yes, I got the response here, okay. And this is working fine perfectly. So this is a way how to send. So this is a way we have to send the data to the client. Sorry, to server. Okay, posting. So REST API we're testing by sends the post data. Okay. So when I say send, I will send. Okay, and so this is the response I got. Okay, this is the response. So it's received, right? Received. So if you want, you can just check it out. The person class, you can override the toString method and print it here. Override toString and print it here. Let me restart the application now. I just say again, once again I sent. It's working fine. You see, it's received. The server side is received, right? So I'll give some different name here. Let's say I'll give, let's say Karthik. I'll give the name Karthik. Okay, let it be Sanjay, the Delhi. It's received, right? Server side receives. So I'm passing through Postman. Client I'm passing through Postman. So server receives as a Java output. So it's a Java object, right? It's a Java object I'm using. But I'm sending to the client as a Postman, as a JSON data. Fine. Okay, that's all. So this is what REST API basically, and we have to discuss a lot of things in the detailed manner. Okay, fine. Fine. Okay. Now we will understand about security part here. Okay, because we have just a couple of minutes. So we got 10 minutes. I'll just understand. We'll go for security part here. Okay. I'll just talk through security part here. So we will discuss more about those things later. Okay, because I'm just fine. So as of now, I'll use OAuth. Okay, I'll use OAuth. So OAuth is a so open authorization protocol. It allows access the resource from enabling client application by using. So we can log in by Facebook or GitHub, etc. Let's say we have seen a lot of app right nowadays. Let's say even if you go for a Geek, right, Geek website also, you don't need to sign up. You don't need to sign up, right? So what you can do directly, you can access by Google URL or Google login or Facebook login. We can access them, right? So this is called OAuth. Okay, so I just make it very short here. So OAuth is open authorization protocol, which allows the accessing the resources of the resource owner by enabling the client applications services such as Facebook or YouTube. So we will make an app. We will make a security app. The security app need the authentication from different servers. Okay, the different authorization servers. So you no need to write the code for security. Okay. So it means will be like this. Okay. Let's say we have a different apps. We have different apps here. Okay, app 1, app 2, app 3. Let's say you have a different accounts, right? Let's say you have account with let's say Geek, or you have account with Facebook. We have account with Gmail, Google, right? So for all these, no need to make a different sign up. Single sign up will work for all, right? So if you have Google account, you can log into Facebook. If you have Google account, you can log into Geek of Geeks, right? If you have Google account, you can log into other tutorials, anything. Okay, so there is a single authorization server. This single authorization server will work for all the apps. So user no need to remember the username password for all. Because let's say you have right, why we have to remember everything? Because you have account with many apps, right? You have account with many apps. So if your account with many apps, it's too difficult to remember all the username and password, right? For you. So better, okay, we can use OAuth here. Okay, so OAuth, we have something authorization server, so we use GitHub here. Okay, we use a GitHub. Okay, so hopefully, I think you have account with GitHub. Okay, and we can sign in with the help of the GitHub. Okay. So how it works, we'll see. Okay, there are main components. Fine. How it works, we'll see. So client. Okay, so I'm the user. Okay, I'm accessing my resource here. Okay, my resource. Okay, so if you access my resource, my client will ask what server you want to use. Okay, so it's I think it's a practical, right? So the many I think you guys are using this if you log into Geek of Geeks also. So you'll ask for sign up. Either go for sign up, or either you'll sign in by Facebook, or sign in by Twitter, sign in by GitHub, or sign in by Google. So it'll ask you in what way you want to sign in, right? So let's say I will choose GitHub. Okay. So what happens now? If I choose GitHub, the request will go to the GitHub. Will go to GitHub, right? Okay. And okay, and I'm going to sign in by GitHub. Okay, and I'm asking to a token. Okay, GitHub, I'm asking a token. Okay, so what about now? GitHub will give a token to me. Okay, so these are authorized server. Okay, GitHub will give a token to me, and now through the token, I'll get a token. Through the token, I can access my resource server. So resource server is the actual server I want to access. So resource server, basically we can say, assume the resource server is your GitHub. Okay. Okay. So okay. So resource server is a server. Actually, we want access. There's a Geek of Geeks. That is a resource server. Okay, you want access. So authorization server is a Google or Facebook or Twitter. So through this login, we can access the actual resource. Okay, fine. So I have made a simple app here. Okay, so made a simple app with the GitHub authentication. I will just show you how it works. Yeah. So what? Okay. So I used GitHub. Okay. Fine. So now I have made a very simple endpoint or simple REST API. So as of now, we have made a REST API, right? We have made a REST API. Let's say person controller, the mic controller, we have made a REST API, right? So similarly, I have made a REST API, and I use what hello. Okay. So let us remove this principal. I just the same thing. Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. Okay, next topic. So now I want to access this resource. Okay, let me close everything because maybe others many servers are running now. So I want to access this resource, right? So what I'll do, I will run this application now. Fine. So this application is up and running. It's a simple REST API, right? So we discussed the last simple REST API. I just run it. Okay. So now to access this, I should use for hello URL, no? Hello URL, right? So and what's the port number it uses? Port number is actually 8080. So let me try that. Let me try the same 8080 slash is a hello. When you use hello, okay, see what happens. Okay, it uses its trying hello, but the thing is actually I have logged in GitHub already. So that is the reason it's able to access here. Let me sign out from there. Let me sign out from my GitHub account. I was signed out now. Fine. I was signed out, and here also I will have to log out from here. Fine. Now I will access the URL hello here. See, when I use hello here, it is asking to log in through GitHub. So as I discussed earlier, right? So see, if you remember, this is the URL. This is my local application, right? I'm using what? Hello. This is my local application. But okay, what is the procedure when I access this? Okay, here it directly taking me to the authorization server, GitHub. Because this step I have not done here, the simple application directly. Okay, when I say hello, directly taking me to the GitHub only. So here I have to give my details, right? So I use my credentials here. Okay, signed. Now it will yes. Now it's a so now this uses it's a OAuth here. It's very simple, okay. But we have to understand the architecture here well, how it is using. Okay. So here I have made this is my REST endpoint, but we have to do some configurations here. Okay, we have to make some GitHub. We have to do some configuration with the GitHub, and we have to make some we have to make some app in the GitHub. So we have to do a lot of setup over there. But this is a very very basic. I'm just telling. I just want to go through the flow here. What is OAuth in very simple term? Okay, okay. So without logging in your app, you'll use a authorization server app. Okay? So here I used GitHub as an authorization server, right? GitHub is authorized server. So I have not gone through your program applications and all. Okay. So GitHub is authorized server we have used. So through this in GitHub, I can able to log in my app. So this is my app I have made, but I have logged in through. So if you want to log in again, so I have to sign out this. I have to sign out from here. I will sign out from GitHub, and I have to log out because it's casing token. Actually, I have to log out from here also. So now if I access this URL, hello, it will take me to again GitHub. So I have to give my credentials here. Then only do it. Fine. So that's it about the security as of now. A lot of things we have to discuss here. So I just walk through everything from the Spring core, okay, Spring core, Spring Web, Spring Web MVC, REST API. So actually, it's very short. It's I think you got some expectation here. What to what you are discussing, about this course, that you got some expectation. Fine. Any questions? Let me know. Any questions you have? Let me know. So if you have no questions, we can wind up the session. We can see the class. Shall we wind up? Fine then. So we're done with this part, okay? And hopefully, I think okay, we have done with security part till now. Okay, we use OAuth here, okay, and fine. We'll see the class actually. Okay, see all of you. Take care. Have a good day, all of you. Take care.